Things Podcast. Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest episode of the Needless Things Podcast, where we talk about toys, movies, music, and all manner of pop culture dorkery. I'm your host, Dave, and I took my lovely wife to go see The Nun earlier today, because when we want to go see movies, we have to do it when Phantom Jr.'s in school. So a nice 11 a.m. horror movie for you. I actually dig seeing, I think we've seen all of the Conjuring movies. I guess both of the Conjuring movies we went and saw like this, so it was kind of neat to go and see this one. We didn't bother with either of the Annabelles in the theater, and quite frankly, I'm okay with that. But going in the morning, it's kind of weird. The theater's always mostly empty. Very rarely are there other people in there, or more than a couple with us. And there's just something, there's an extra silence to the theater during the day. It's cool. It's a good time for horror movies, despite what you may think. But the movie was awesome. It captures the feel and the atmosphere and the sort of supernatural investigation aspect of the Conjuring series. The Taissa Farmiga is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I like her anyway. I've never seen her be bad in anything. But let's see who else. Damien Bashir plays your sort of stereotypical priest with a troubled past, and that's really about it. There's one other guy in it, a fellow that goes by the name of Frenchie, and I can't say too much more about any of it without spoiling anything, and really you should go and see it if you haven't, or if you're a fan of the Conjuring movies, then go check it out. And I love the idea that we're getting this expanding supernatural universe based out of those two excellent movies. And I would love, we might have to record a review of The Nun, because there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to sit here and spoil it in the intro, because in just a few minutes we're going to spoil the heck out of another movie that just came out, and that is The Predator. Originally, this week's episode was going to be the panel with Ric Flair from Dragon Con. Now that's going to happen next week, because The Predator came out last Friday, and our pal Ryan Cadaver went to an early screening the Monday prior to that and was very enthusiastic about the movie. So, I was going to go see it in the theater anyway, because I'm going to go see Predator movies in the theater. But it put a little extra urgency on it for me to get out and see this thing as soon as I could. So I saw it yesterday, flying solo, because the missus was at work. But that doesn't bother me. I'm fine. I've been a loner most of my life. But anyway, I wanted to go see it. Went and saw it yesterday, and Ryan and I messaged back and forth a couple times afterward. And he's like, "Next time I see you, we got to talk about it." And I was like, "You know what? Why don't you come over tonight for like an hour, and we'll just record a review." Because there's some stuff that needed to be unpacked. There's some points I wanted to take a look at. And he's like, "As soon as I get out of work, I'm headed to the Phantom Zone." So we did it, we recorded it, and we will have it here for you today on this episode of the Needless Things Podcast. But before we get to that, like I said, The Nun was really good, and I also want to mention the Mystery Men. As I mentioned last week, they have a new album out called Firewalkers. You can go to themysterymenofsurf.com to find out more. You can also follow them on Facebook. And as you know, they provide the interstitial music for almost every episode of the Needless Things Podcast. I always want to say every episode, but every once in a while we'll do like a special episode that requires a different kind of music or a specific theme or whatever. But they are our house band, if you will, here on the Needless Things Podcast. Man, Halloween is ramping up. I'm doing something pretty cool or something that I think is pretty cool on Facebook. I actually got this from our pals at Horror News Radio. Last year, they were keeping sort of Halloween movie diaries, if you will. On Facebook, it was a photo gallery where they would save an image or the movie poster or whatever from every movie they watched during the Halloween season. And I think these guys might do this throughout the whole entire year because they're Horror News Radio and it's their job. But I noticed it last Halloween, and they post the image. They've got an album, and I started an album on my Facebook page, which if you don't know, I'm Dave West on Facebook, or you can join the Needless Things Podcast Facebook group. But I started an album called Halloween Watch List 2018, and every horror movie I watch during the Halloween season, I'm putting up an image or the movie. So far it's been the movie poster, although I do try to find the coolest movie poster I can, because sometimes the standard release movie poster is not awesome, and I want to put up an awesome image. But I'll post that with a few sentences about just what I think of the movie, or why I watched it again, or whatever. But it's a cool thing. It's neat to look at, and I think if a lot of people do it, then we can sort of look at each other's albums and be like, oh yeah, I'd like to watch that one too, or oh, that's interesting that this person likes this one. Maybe I should check it out again. Or this person used to like this one and rewatched it, and now they think it's terrible. Whatever. I just like seeing other people's thoughts about movies. As long as it's not, you're an idiot for liking that movie, because that's terrible. Nobody likes that. So anyway, that's something I'm doing because Halloween, as far as I'm concerned, the Halloween season is here. Essentially, how it goes for me is, as soon as Dragon Con's Labor Day weekend, as soon as Dragon Con is over, the Phantom Zone and the West family start getting Halloween-y. We start looking around for new decorations. We start watching spooky stuff whenever we can. I make an effort to stick with spookier movies, TV shows, whatever the case may be, and this is it. Through October 31st, this is our Halloween season, and then November is kind of a break for me. I don't go straight into Christmas. I start thinking about it, obviously, and I'm an early shopper. Usually, I have most of the family's Christmas shopping done before Thanksgiving. I've already got a portion of it done now. But until day after Thanksgiving is when Christmas season starts, which means technically for me Halloween season lasts longer than Christmas season. But I think it's because Christmas season requires a more focused, specific kind of energy than Halloween does, because horror movies are just a part of my life. So the only difference, I watch horror movies year-round. The only real difference in the Halloween season is the rest of the house outside of the Phantom Zone gets more spooky stuff, because we've already got a bunch of horror movie posters and stuff everywhere, but we put out our weird, knickknacks from Target and Big Lot and Spirit and whatever else, and then the exterior of the house gets the spooky treatment. And like I said, I try to focus more on horror. So if I'm looking at my movie collection, I won't necessarily put in Big Trouble in Little China. Instead, I might steer more towards Prince of Darkness, if you know what I mean. But Christmas season is very specific. Christmas movies, it's a different kind of thing. I don't watch Christmas movies year-round. I don't have that kind of cheer and joy year-round. Maybe we'll do a Christmas cast to kick off December. I kind of like that idea. I'm going to make a note. Christmas cast first week of December. Okay, so now it's time to talk. Even though we're not officially into the Needless Things Halloween season, which will start the first week of October, it's time to talk about a movie that takes place at Halloween and takes place in Georgia. Oh, that's right. Not only is Predator a horror... The Predator, sorry. Not only is The Predator a horror movie, it is also a Halloween movie, and it is also a Halloween movie that takes place in Georgia. This one is going to go in the archives and live in the rotation for years and years to come. And now, me and Ryan are going to tell you why.
Start talking about the thing.
That sounds good.
It's entirely possible.
You never know.
It happens a lot. So, alright, I guess it's not going to happen. So alright, so you came by, you made a special trip to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
To talk about tonight's premiere, the new season of Total Divas.
That's exactly why I wanted to be here.
It's going to be a
because
great
I have a
episode.
lot to say.
Right? Oh my gosh, there's so much drama, especially now that John and Nikki split up for realsies.
I can't believe for realsies. I don't know how long I can keep this ruse going. I don't know.
I'm done. I'm literally out of material at that point now.
That's about it.
No, I will talk about The Predator, which I just saw and which you saw like a week or so ago.
Yeah, I saw it last week or something like that. Yeah.
And I'm always when you go to the early stuff to do reviews or whatever, I'm always interested to hear what you're going to say about things, because you and I tend to have we want to like things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like, I'm not going in looking to nitpick or like I when I go to a thing, I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, I look at like what the director was trying to accomplish, and I'm like, if I feel like he did a good job accomplishing that and giving me what I wanted to see, I'm happy.
Yeah,
I guess I've just gotten less picky over the years, and I'm just like, if they delivered on what they promised me, so to speak, by like the advertising and everything else, it's like I'm hyped to see this. This is gonna be crazy. Which in this instance, I actually didn't like the advertising that much, but the movie delivered what I wanted out of a Predator movie, so therefore I was happy. And I'm trying to be like that with more things because, you can nitpick everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could sit down and pick apart any movie or comic book, whatever, but you could pick apart anything if you really want to.
Yep.
Why do you really want to?
Yeah. Yeah, when you're like looking at period pieces and being like, oh, like that shirt, they couldn't have gotten that tour shirt that
Those
year.
Those kinds of buttons didn't exist then.
Yeah.
Whatever. If it's and that's the thing is I need a balance of entertainment versus authenticity.
Yeah.
Or versus no, that's it. Entertainment versus authenticity, and somewhere in the middle is where I find my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're really, really entertaining, you can get away with shit. But if you're putting something that's lame out that isn't well thought out or has a bunch of plot holes or whatever, then your authenticity. Wow, I just really mangled the shit out of that word. Your authenticity had better be really, really good.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be looking more at your setting and your costumes and your, whatever else is going on. If your story doesn't keep me engaged enough to move past, the watch that wasn't out that year.
Yeah.
Or whatever the nitpick might be.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same way with me, too. It's like, when a movie sucks, then, I'm going to start nitpicking it heavier and heavier. I mean, I think we've all been in the theater wanting to like a movie, and then halfway through you're like, well, this is bullshit. And then everything that happens after that, you're like, oh, fuck that, that's dumb.
Yep.
Whereas, if it hadn't reached that point, you might have let some things slide, but, it's part of the experience.
That's exactly right. It's funny. Yeah, that's we've all had that experience where you're like, is this going to get any better? This doesn't seem to be getting any better. And then the one thing happens, and I wish I could think of a specific example of a recent movie, and I know that's happened to me
Dark
recently,
Tower?
but like, shit, that's
There's too much.
30 seconds for that one to lose me. But yeah, where the one thing happens, you're like, okay, I can't accept that.
Yeah.
If they don't get a whole lot better quick, the things I can't accept are just going to start piling up.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to be magnifying on all those things that could have been small.
Yeah. They wouldn't bother me if they'd done other things successfully.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Having said all that, I want to say up front that, because your reaction to The Predator was positive.
Yeah, like, I gave it, like, a, like, probably way too good of a review, because, like, I was just hyped. Like, I haven't been like that coming out of a movie in a long time, and I was like, oh my god, that was awesome. I mean, I was like, me and Nicole were high-fiving each other during the movie. Like, it was just fun and, like, awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I gave it, like, a stellar, like, I nitpicked a couple things, but all in all, I really enjoyed it.
And that's why I want to say this at the beginning. I thought it was awesome. There was so much stuff in there that over-delivered on what I was really expecting from the movie. Things that and we'll get to all of it, but like things that I hadn't seen before and things that I didn't know I wanted to see. But as we talk, there's going to be some stuff that I'm maybe a little negative on, or like that jumped out at me while I was watching it. But overall, I'm positive on it. I dug it. I'm going to buy it when it comes out. I can't wait to hear Shane Black's commentary. It's Black. It's Black and Decker. Yes, Fred Decker and Shane Black. Which only just now. Together, we just had a Sean moment here. But I can't wait to see behind the scenes, to hear the actors talk about it. Like, I hope they load the home release up with stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because I want more of this world, and that's actually one of the things, not just behind the scenes, but it felt to me in spots, and you might be able to address this a little bit. It felt a little disjointed. There were times like, okay, and for anybody listening, we're going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want it spoiled, check out now.
Turn this shit off.
Right.
Pause it. Don't turn it off. Pause it. Come back to it after you go see the movie.
Go see the movie and then come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll wait for you. So anyway, it's got a fantastic open. I love the open because they didn't fuck around and act like we'd never seen a Predator before.
Yes.
Which is something a lot of horror, action, like especially monster-based movies, sequels, do, is they act like we haven't already fucking seen this thing, and they hide it for the first half hour of the movie.
I personally don't think a slow burn, tension-filled movie like the first one could work again with the Predator, because we all know what the Predator is and what it can do.
Let's get to it.
Yeah,
and they got to it. He's sitting in his ship. Boop, 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 boop,
immediately.
Yeah.
Which that ship looked awesome.
Both of the ships. Looked very, very cool. Very, very reminiscent of some of the designs they used in the Dark Horse comics. But it gets right down to business. As a matter of fact, I think it was within that first segment that we saw the Predator's language translated for the first time. Or did that come later when the big ship showed up? I can't remember. But that was a...
I thought that there was some in the very beginning. I think there was some dialogue.
When he was escaping.
The fugitive Predator.
Oh, and you know what? I need to pull my notes up so I can remember what things are called. I think when the fugitive was escaping, we got a little translation, which is the first time that we've seen that.
Yeah, and it was cool the way it flashed up there and then kind of translated as it went.
And for the purposes, for the in-canon purposes of this movie, and for the purposes of our conversation, the only other Predator movies that exist are the original two. Arnold Schwarzenegger and with Danny Glover.
And I guess Predators could have existed because it was
Predators would be outside of this timeline,
I guess that's fine.
I think. Yeah, that one's fine, but the movie doesn't reference it. And I enjoyed Predators, for the record.
I did too. I liked it.
Yeah. Aside from Lawrence Fishburne being a little big for a dude who'd been living in the wild for 6 months or 8 months or whatever.
Yeah, he was eating good in those
But he's great, so you kind of forgive that.
Yeah, and this won't be a review of the Predators, but I didn't realize so recently that people didn't like that movie. I just thought it was understood that it was good, and then I started looking up online, just looking up some stuff while doing research for this one, and I was like, wow, this one's not loved.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Well, a lot of people had a problem with Adrian Brody which I get, except for the fact that, because I went into that not really thinking about King Kong, because he was an action hero in King Kong.
Yeah.
But not really thinking about that. I just went into Predators like Adrian Brody. I don't know. And he was a badass.
Oh, he was fucking awesome.
He was great in that movie. So, like, if you put that aside, I don't know what problem people could have with that movie.
It was a very simple plot.
Yeah, but it made sense.
Yeah,
like,
it made
all
perfect
worked.
sense.
All the characters were great. As a matter of fact, I'd go so far as to say the characters in that one were... They certainly weren't more likable than the ones in the new one.
They were probably more thought out.
But they were. They came across as a little more distinctive, and their interactions were, I felt it a little more. But these guys, the loonies, as they call them, were likable.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they were super likable. Yeah. So that worked.
And right off the bat, I mean, this movie, obviously we get to the Predator shit really early, but, like, it is, like, pretty much non-stop humor. Like, joke after joke,
and
which I think...
Every once in a while, there's one that doesn't quite land, but for the most part...
Oh, yeah. I was laughing my ass off.
I don't even know... I don't think it's even appropriate for us to repeat it here, considering the lack of diversity in the room.
Yeah.
But the one when Thomas Jane and Keegan-Michael Key are setting up to take the bus over, the joke Keegan-Michael Key tells about Thomas Jane's mother...
Oh my god, that was good.
And there were only like 4 people in the theater when I watched it today because it was like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But it was like everybody lost it at that one. That got a huge laugh.
I was like sitting in around like, some friends, but then there's like a lot of people that were like very diligently taking notes and being very serious and like critiquing the movie.
Yeah.
So they weren't like... I wasn't getting, like, the laughter, but me and Nicole were just being rowdy, just, like, cracking up, high-fiving.
Yeah.
I mean, not, like, yelling at the movie theater, but, like...
But it's that kind of movie.
But it is. Like, it's that kind of movie where you're just like, fuck yeah.
Like, I do. I wish I had seen it with a bigger audience, not necessarily a premiere audience like that, because, like you said, people are there to do whatever they're there to do.
It's a fun movie. Like, you put it on at a party, like, it's going to kill.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It would have been... you know what? I would have liked... And I dug it. Like I said, I dug it. But I bet I would have liked it even more if I had seen it in a full theater.
Probably.
With reactions and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the humor was really solid. Most of the jokes landed for me. I loved when Olivia Munn wakes up. Like, she's in the hotel room...
Yeah.
And they've tried to leave the little, like, give the butterfly, the unicorn, and the cup of tea.
That was awesome.
We want to make her comfortable. We don't want her to be scared when she wakes up. And they're all standing at the foot of the bed. Oh, my gosh, that was great. That was staged
and they were all,
so well.
And they were all betting on if she'd grab the gun or not. Yeah, that was
told
hilarious.
you she'd grab the gun.
Yeah.
I told you she'd shoot the
pull
gun.
The trigger, That was
that
great.
was tremendous. That was really good.
Yeah, Olivia Munn surprised the shit out of me. Like, I like her anyways, but like she was really good. And there was like her story arc very easily could have been one of those things that I just nitpicked the shit out of because like it's like how'd she come from like alien science to like badass running around with a gun? But I thought it was fucking awesome. Like it worked.
And see, that was the thing is I had the same. I honestly. I think they could have cut a little of what we saw out, and honestly, I'm not sure where they could have made cuts, but I would have liked a little more background on her character.
Yeah.
But I think the idea was she's so enthusiastic about space life, including space dogs, which we'll talk about the space dogs, that she's... Because when Jake Busey, who is playing Gary Busey's character's son...
Which is awesome.
Yes, which is awesome. And there's another bit of lineage that I'm very curious about, but we'll get to that in a minute. But when Jake Busey tells her, don't let it get away, and she says, not my space monster.
Yeah.
And you get the sense of, like, oh, she's in it. She's not letting this thing get away. Like, and that's... She's not really thinking, she's like, it's a fucking space alien and I want to study it.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not necessarily that she's... Because I was processing this as I was watching the movie. It's not necessarily that she's some kind of badass. It's just that she's like, motherfucker, I need to see this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And they show it now that I'm thinking about it even more, because you've got to sit down and think about a movie, put the pieces together, which I will say that is one of the things I really liked about this is that they didn't sit there and say his son is autistic or on the spectrum. Like much later in the movie, it gets brought up.
Yeah,
but they show us with his reaction to the fire alarm, with the him putting the chess pieces back where they were.
Yep.
They show us that he's a special kid. They don't sit there and have it doesn't flash up on screen. It doesn't have a parent-teacher conference. They just lay it out there. And it's the same thing, Olivia Munn, when she arrives at the alien storage facility or whatever the fuck it is, and sees the artifacts from the past movies, which how badass was that?
That was fucking awesome. Yeah. And she was freaking out over him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
then when she sees the alien, she
freaks out.
Well, she has that awesome quote.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Was it you, you beautiful motherfucker?
Yes.
Is that what she said? Yeah.
Yes, you are one beautiful motherfucker.
That's it, then which obviously is a reference to the first movie.
Yes. It was...
And I feel like that would have bothered me in a lesser movie, like some of the callbacks to the lines, but I thought they were delivered really well.
No, we'll even get to the chowders.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
It was great, yeah.
But it was because that guy was great. And I didn't have you got a list of the actor names?
I do right here.
Let's see here. Because I don't want to say... Well, you can't in this movie. You can't say the black guy. Because there were
there's Nebraska.
Several, but there was Nebraska, who was played by... Oh my gosh, this print is so light. Trevante Rhodes, who I don't think I know from anything.
It's weird. He was incredibly good. I'm shocked I haven't seen him in anything else. He was
awesome,
really
man.
good.
And then
Sterling Brown was Traeger.
Okay, so here's my question about Traeger. Traeger was the quote unquote bad guy.
Yeah.
Who met the most hilarious end of it, and I was curious. Okay, so and we're jumping around a lot here, but that's what we do. At the end of the movie, when they're the final hunt, with the big predator, not the hybrid. What?
He was a genetically engineered predator.
Yeah,
that was
the big predator,
11 feet tall.
Did you catch what happened to Traeger?
Yeah, the gun turned on him, right? The shoulder gun.
But it turned so his head.
Yeah,
and he blew his own head off with the Predator tech. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was so quick, you're like, this guy's been built up so much as the bad guy, and it's just boom, just dead.
Here's my observation, though. Mm-hmm. Did you notice, not only does he behave a lot like Apone from Aliens, his laugh at one point is exactly like Apone.
Oh, shit.
That big giant laugh.
Yeah, and that was a deliberate choice.
Yes,
too.
Yeah. That wasn't any kind of natural laugh, but he delivered his lines very similarly. I mean,
he was the whole asshole,
movie,
but he was so funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the whole movie. I'm just like, man, I wonder, and I know the Aliens because I'm not even sure who released this. Is it Fox still?
I do not have that information.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But, I've got to wonder if that's intended to be, he's some ancestor of Apone's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why he couldn't be.
Because he so came off that way. But whatever the case, it was a great performance, and he was one of those bad guys that you just love watching.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's hilarious and charming, but then in the scene where they've got Olivia Munn in the barn, and they are getting ready to execute her.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
He's mean. He is a bad guy.
Yeah, when he is first watching the interview with Quinn, and he's like, oh, yeah, he definitely saw something. I thought he was going to be like, let's get him on our team or something like that. No, he was like, throw him away.
Yeah.
He was a cold motherfucker.
And that line, the first one that our main guy...
Quinn.
Yeah.
Quinn McKenna.
What else has that guy been in?
I don't know.
Oh, he was in Logan.
Yes, he was the bad guy.
The main Reaver in
Yeah.
That's
Lloyd Holbrook.
I like him. And I'll tell you who he reminds me of a bit. He's not quite as charming, but performance-wise, he reminded me of Mel Gibson in this movie.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
A lot of the way that he talked and his facial movements, and like he has kind of that really dry, just very dry demeanor.
He struck me, Mel Gibson works. He struck me as like a '90s leading action man.
Yeah,
like one-liners, and he was just instantly like first scene. You're like, oh, that guy's badass. Wouldn't fuck with him. Like, immediately.
But the line that they quote where he says he dropped out of his mother's womb, hit the floor, and has been crawling towards his death ever since.
Yeah,
I think that was the line. And they're both like, that's pretty badass. And it's funny because what you said, the trailers weren't all that exciting because that interview was in the trailer.
Yeah.
And they have the line where he says, I'm a sniper, we're supposed to be dangerous. In the context of the movie and that interview, it works. And we already know his character well enough for it to work coming from him. But in the trailer,
it seems like Suicide Squad or something. Like
it did. It came across really corny in the trailer, and that was the thing. Is a lot of the stuff from the trailer just didn't play outside of the context of this is a big action movie.
Yeah.
There are going to be times where death is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And
they very casually and hilariously kill a lot of people.
Kid,
I know,
kid that went. So we get it opens up with Quinn's character. His squad is out taking down a cartel.
Like a cartel,
guy. Yeah. And the Predator ship crashes,
lining up the shot,
and he mails the gauntlet and the left gauntlet and the helmet to his P.O. box.
Mm-hmm.
This is another thing that as I was watching, I had to go, oh, okay, that's why that happened that way. Because I didn't catch the whole interaction with the mailman.
Yeah.
That he was saying, this was supposed to go to a P.O. box, but he hasn't paid for it in a while, so I brought it here.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense.
Because it would have been really irresponsible to send that to your house.
Yeah. Right. So, like, that makes sense. And which is why I wanted to talk about it, because there are probably some things like that you caught that I didn't catch. And his kid who is on the spectrum is a genius, and I love the whole idea of that being the next evolutionary step.
Yeah,
I thought that was very interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, even though I kind of saw it coming towards the end.
Yeah.
But I thought it worked.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and it did. They had distracted me with enough other stuff.
Oh yeah,
that when they had the reveal that the big guy was after the kid, it still got me.
Yeah.
Because he did his big gung-ho, the father did the big gung-ho.
I know what
you want, everybody get out of here, and he's just like, whack.
I don't give a shit about you, you're just a sniper, I want the kid.
Right. Yeah, that was very solid. Have you got any notes you want to hit?
No, mainly I just got the actor's name just so I don't forget anybody, but I got plenty to talk about. I mean, if we want to go through, like...
Well, let's... one of my first notes, because I've already got my first two out of the way. Lots of CGI.
Yeah.
Not all of it was great.
I totally agree with that, and that's one of the nitpicks I had. What was weird was it had some of the best practical effects I've seen in a fucking while.
Dude, the Predator suit.
The Predator looked awesome.
The Fugitive Predator?
He looked amazing.
Was badass. I'm so glad I bought that fucking figure now.
I know.
Because, like, as I was watching the movie, I was like, I'd be so pissed if I had to hunt this, if I had to, like, get out of here and go hunt this thing down.
Yeah. I've already seen it going for, like, a lot more online already.
I haven't seen it in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to stop at GameStop after the movie, and they did not have any Fugitive Predators.
Yeah.
But, great design.
He was sleek. He reminded me of, like, the first Predator. Like his movements and his style and everything was, like, more like the first Predator. You know, he was very classic Predator.
And in the non-CG, although there was some CG, but it didn't really distract me, the scene in the lab where he gets loose.
Oh my god, it was intense.
We got to see a Predator without his tools.
Yeah,
which we've not
fucking
seen
bite
in
somebody
one of the
in
movies.
the neck.
Bit the guy in the arm.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
was slashing faces with the claws, tearing arms off, blowing. I mean, just
so they're
crazy.
Deadly as fuck no matter what. Yeah.
Didn't even need his tools. Like, that was awesome, and that was something I didn't expect to see.
No.
That was a department. And that whole lab scene.
Just seeing a Predator that vulnerable was just weird and crazy. You're like, whoa.
And that's the other thing, is he had personality.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because they're technically higher species.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've achieved interstellar travel.
Yeah.
They're not just monsters. They're not just things. So I loved, and I bet there were people that hated it. I loved the scene where he got in the back of the truck, killed all the dudes, and then held the guy's arm out with a thumb up. Dude, I laughed my ass off.
That was awesome. but he's a smart Predator.
Right. They're smart. They know. I'm sure they have senses of humor. They things like that. Like,
yeah, why wouldn't they?
I love seeing that. I love later on when he drops down on top of the truck, gets the drop on everybody. He's got Jesus guy. You know, he's holding him up.
Yeah,
and he does the little finger point.
Oh yeah,
to tell them to drop their weapons.
Yeah,
like it was so good, because if somebody had been trying to make a serious movie, you know, and had cut out a lot of the humor and had cut out a lot of things like that, they might have said, you know, they might have had one of the characters say, everybody put your guns down, instead of doing the little visual cue that was just so funny and so human.
Yeah,
and made, you know. If they hadn't humanized that Predator, the fugitive Predator, a little bit, then when he got killed, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
And him getting killed...
And a lot of the story wouldn't have made sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And him getting killed needed to matter in the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And it did, because they had given him just those little things to do that made him a character and not just a monster, which was the important thing.
Where, like, the big one was just a monster. Really.
Yes.
I mean, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although they gave it some stuff, like, it wasn't just a monster, it was a villain, because we had the dialogue.
That's true, and he had a plot. Yeah.
And I liked, we're giving you a timed advantage.
Yeah.
So, he means a head start. And they're like, fuck out of here.
Let's go, yeah. It didn't really matter much, but yeah.
So, but... To get back to the CG, some of it was
really
rough,
bad,
and I it makes me wonder, because there were times when the big Predator looked incredible. There were times when it didn't look so incredible.
Yeah.
Usually when it was running.
I thought the dogs looked good though. Mostly.
Same with them. Like, I love the design of the dogs.
Yeah.
And I love the black humor of him lobotomizing the one dog.
Yeah, and it was just
just
totally cool with them.
The rest of the time.
That was awesome.
But there were times when the dogs were in motion where, honestly, I thought the ones in the last movie looked better.
Yeah.
But not design-wise necessarily.
I haven't seen that in a while. Did they look similar, or are they?
No,
they're
they
totally different.
Nothing like these. These looked like big giant bulldogs.
Yeah.
The ones in the other one were much sleeker and had like spiky spines and stuff all over. Nega actually did figures of them, and I wish I had bought them.
Yeah. Well, so I saw some complaints about that too, like them not establishing and I'm like, well, they're hunters. Like, why wouldn't they have dogs? You know?
No, I'm fine with that, and that's been and like I said, it was in the last movie.
Yeah.
It's been in the Dark Horse comics.
Yeah.
Like that. That's a thing.
Yeah.
As far as the designs being different, maybe
there's
they have different breeds
of dogs,
just like they do on Earth.
Yeah,
I mean, that's and especially as is established in this movie, when the Predators know how to genetically manipulate things.
Yep.
Oh, that was another good bit of humor when they're talking about it, the Predator moniker. And Olivia Munn's like, that's really more of a sports hunter.
This is not really a predator.
And they're like, yeah, but Predator sounds cooler. And then they do a callback to that later in the movie.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, that was really
That was like some really self-aware, hilarious shit.
Yes.
But not in like an annoying way.
Yeah.
It was like just very honest. It was like, well, it sounds cooler. And it's like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes that's all you have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, he's absolutely right.
Let's see here. What do you got?
No, I was just going to talk about, like, so at first I was like, I love Thomas Jane.
Yes.
At first I was a little off-put, but then I, like, embraced it. Like, I know that's not really how Tourette's works exactly, but eventually, so I think that might bother some people, but I thought that he killed it with what he was given.
Yeah.
And I think that they obviously were using it as, like, comic relief, but there's some funny-ass shit.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the movie...
It starts going away.
And to me, it seemed they were saying he was faking it to keep people away.
Oh, shit. All right. That makes sense, because it goes away once he's in battle. Once he gets a gun in his hand, he is... Because
he said... Keegan-Michael Key's character says, like, he gives him the gun, and he said, I also love the line where he hands him the gun and he said, how does it feel? Yeah. Like a gun.
That was good.
But he says, you're back, and he says, I was never gone.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
That's a suggestion that's just an affectation he took on to keep people distant.
Even though he almost got him killed with it when he screamed at the Predator. But
right.
But yeah, no, that's interesting. It was either implying that, or it was implying that not being a soldier caused that.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, even if he started off doing it just to be different and weird and just to sort of shut himself off from the world a bit, you know, when you do something like that long enough, it becomes part of your psyche.
Yeah. So, but I thought Thomas Jane was good.
Yes.
I thought Keegan-Michael Key was really good. I always like him.
I love watching him in anything.
The Jesus guy was awesome. I can't remember his name, but I love the part when they all they're just in Dude Buddy's ex-wife's house and they're just like chilling and like they want to sit there and watch TV and like she's like, what the hell are all these people doing in here? Just like those like kind of antics with that crew, it made you not want to lose any of them, and they made it like really sad when the shit did happen.
Well, and you know what?
And you get most of the movie with them.
Here's the thing: is the original Predator it's one of my picks for a perfect movie.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it's devastating because everybody fucking dies except for Arnold and that girl.
Yeah.
Everybody dies.
Yep.
So, in the intervening years since then, in the 31 years since that movie came out, movies don't do that a whole lot.
No.
You may get one death, the Whedon death that you get for emotional impact or to prove how serious the situation is.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you lose an entire cast.
Yeah.
And I realized watching this...
Well, I think a lot of times it's because they're like, what if we need to make a sequel?
Well, yeah, that's true, too. That's true, too.
Yeah.
But watching this, when they started killing, because the first one to go was Jesus Guy, right?
Yeah, Nettles, I think.
Nettles,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I think he was the first one to go, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
They're going to kill them all, aren't they? And then they start dropping, and I realized how soft movies are now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I want a bunch of movies where all these characters you love die.
Oh, no,
I don't want that. But it was very interesting to realize, like, shit, you don't see this anymore.
No. There's a lot of things that call back to the old movies I grew up loving. Like, the style of humor I don't think is normally... 2018 thing.
There were a lot of jokes.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, would not fly in other
But they were
movies.
like, it's like if you're telling those jokes, like if you're seeing that character say those things, you're like, it's totally believable that guy would say that. You know? And it worked. But there was, like, some stuff in it that I was like, wow, I can't believe they're getting away with this. And, like, killing people for a laugh. Like, the tranquilizer dart, which is possibly my favorite scene.
What, are you going to kill me with a tranquilizer gun?
He's like, well, you took my kid, so yeah.
So, yeah.
Just shoots him in the eye. I was like, oh, my God.
Well, and when his son goes out trick-or-treating, which, by the way, this is a Halloween movie.
Yeah. Oh, my God, it is.
Yeah, it's a fucking Halloween movie.
Yeah, you're right. Put that in the rotation.
Yeah. So when his kid goes out trick-or-treating with the fucking Predator helmet duct
So
taped to
badass.
his head. And,
I want to see actual kids like trick-or-treat with that on.
Oh my gosh, that would be
That'd
amazing.
be badass, yeah.
And he goes to the shitty dump house. It's clearly like a squat house or whatever, and the scumbag comes out of the top floor and throws the thing at him. And I mean, this is like a teenager.
Yeah.
This is not some grown adult. They didn't go out of their way to make him like gross, unappealing, or like.
I made this connection that no one else I talked to had made. I, some reason, was thinking that was like implied that was the older brother of one of those asshole mean kids. But I think that may have just been some connection I made.
I didn't get that, but sure.
But they were hanging
Why
out
not?
in front of the house, and I was like,
Yeah.
and it seemed like kind of set up, like they were like messing with them, and then he. The guy starts throwing stuff at him. I was like,
Right.
I was like, is this like a whole setup?
But he's still a random, relatively
yeah.
innocent
Yeah.
person that just gets murdered.
Yep.
In the movie,
and everyone laughed.
Yes,
like everyone was like,
it was hilarious,
yeah, well,
and I
here's being
love
a dick.
that. And that's what. See that you said something very important about some of the jokes that guy would make that joke.
Yep.
And the movie, the people that made the movie, the actor delivering the joke, nobody is saying that it's okay to make that joke.
Yeah.
But that guy would make that joke.
Exactly.
And that's where I think we're losing a sense of nuance and a sense of where the lines are between entertainment and reality.
Yeah.
Is people get upset about villains doing horrible things. They're villains.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do.
They rape and they pillage and they kill and they're horrible to people.
Yeah.
And we look at that and we say, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That person deserves an awful demise or whatever. Nobody is saying that's a role model, that's somebody to look up to. Now, granted, that's another problem is the Rick and Morty issue where people are looking at Rick like he's some kind of hero, and that's on the people. That's
not the creator's fault.
Right, exactly.
And it's like the opposite end of that is like we're just kind of a bunch of bland, like nothing characters that have no personality.
Right, and never do anything interesting or
I don't want that.
or compelling or provocative at all.
That's kind of why I just felt like this whole movie was refreshing, because I was like, they just don't give a fuck. Like, they're just like, I mean, they give a fuck. Like, it was very genuine, and like you could tell a lot of work was put into it, but like they were also like, this is the movie we're making. This is how this character is going to be. And it was very unapologetic.
I was also impressed, and this plays into the humor that was used. I have in my life known some kids that were on the spectrum or just outright autistic. I have an autistic cousin. And the portrayal, now granted, this was a very functionally on the spectrum kid that was in the movie. But the portrayal was very genuine and not really exploitative at all.
Yeah.
But then the joke later on, when Nettles, or somebody says something about,
they say something retard, retarded.
And he's like, hey man, don't use that word. His kid's a retard. And like, it's about these guys being idiots.
Yeah,
They're
like
not making fun of the
no,
kid.
that wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
It's about this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, like he was playing it up as a moron, and the joke was funny because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I mean, it's established that they're not the brightest guys.
Yes, they're the loonies.
Yeah,
they're the loonies. Which, by the way, NECA, if you want to do a box set,
that'd be awesome.
Of the loonies, I'm on it.
Bus play set.
I'm on it. Oh my gosh, that'd be great. No, so I take it back. I don't want it from NECA. I want it from Funko.
Yes.
Because if they do them in that 3 3/4 inch scale,
awesome.
they could do the bus.
Yeah, and we already have Predators in that scale.
Yeah, exactly. Funko already did them.
Yep.
Speaking of vehicles, this is one of the questions I wanted to see if you had a better outlook on. They go to the hotel where the random crazy party's happening and they can blend in.
Yes.
I know there was an establishing shot, one of the many shots that established they were in Georgia, because this movie was all about the fact that it was in Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Like, every time you saw a sign, it had a peach on it, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So not only is it a Halloween movie, it's a Georgia Halloween movie.
There's only a couple of those that I know of, yeah.
So they're in the hotel, they're partying, they're having fun. We get a little bit of character exposition. Then, the next time we see them, they're in an RV. Where the fuck did that RV come from? Did I miss that? And I didn't take any breaks. Here's another thing about how good this movie is I didn't take any breaks.
Yeah.
I sat and watched the whole thing straight through. It's an hour, 49 minutes, I think. So that's...
I know it's established that Nebraska is good at stealing vehicles.
Right.
I do remember a line of dialogue when he stole the police car, because he was like, you told me to get something that's not flashy or something like that. But I don't know. I'd have to watch it again. I don't know if there's a line of dialogue where Nebraska's like, I picked this up or something, because that seems like that's what happened. But yeah, I don't know if they actually said it. But yeah, I mean, it is established that Nebraska is a car thief or can.
But yeah, it seemed like all of a sudden they were in an RV on the road, and that was one of. And honestly, I don't really care, but it was one of the things where I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what the fuck was that?"
Yeah. No, you're good at picking up stuff like that, because like you mentioned that with Deadpool 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like how the hell?
It was the same thing. Yeah. All of a sudden they're in a helicopter. It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Like, how the hell?
And it would be one thing if they were just in a car, but helicopters and RVs are very specific vehicles. To suddenly be in. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, but again, I don't really give a shit. But I noticed it.
I'd be interested in seeing it again. Because I liked it, but I'll pay more attention to that scene, because there may have been like some
and there probably
exposition thrown out there. But right offhand, I can't think of anything.
Let's see.
But yeah, I mean, like that's a legitimate complaint, because if they didn't establish it at all, I mean, you can connect the dots that he's good at stealing cars, but that's an issue.
Let's see. Okay, my next note, and this is out of order, but I don't care. I want a figure of the Predator killer suit immediately.
Oh, man, dude, that scene. Okay, so what did you think was in that?
I thought it was gonna be. Well, okay. I didn't ever get around to what I thought it was going to be, because I was sitting there trying to process it when it popped up.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how it could be some kind of callback.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, is a young Arnold Schwarzenegger going to pop out of that?
It was going to be Dutch.
Right.
I don't know why.
That's what I thought. I was like, is there going to be like an Arnold clone in that? What the... And as I was sitting... And I knew, like... We already tried to de-age Arnold once.
Yeah.
And these guys are too smart. Even if they had the Marvel CGI at their disposal,
which they obviously
did not, they're too smart to do
Yeah.
anything that would remind people of that shit-ass Terminator movie.
Yeah.
So I eliminated that, but I was just sitting there thinking, like, what could come out of that would be significant enough for this kind of reveal at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
And as I was sitting there thinking, the thing popped up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't...
I thought it could have been... I thought it could have been a xenomorph, or something related to the xenomorphs, like a...
yeah, you know what? That ran through my head, too.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. What if the fugitive predator was not trying to help humanity?
Yeah.
And what if he's trying to seed the planet? That actually went through my head, too.
Yeah.
Is what if it's a xenomorph egg?
Yeah.
And he was actually here to seed the planet.
That would have been kind of
awesome. And the big
awesome.
predator was like, no, we don't want to lose this game yet.
Yeah.
Like, that quickly ran through there, too.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't think we're...
Yeah, and I think
they're
smart.
Alien
I think they're
Predator
smart to not.
while.
Yeah, and I think after Alien's doing its, I guess doing its own thing, so they probably don't want to cross them over again,
right?
Because I mean, at the time of AVP, there wasn't really anything happening with Alien, so you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Both of those things ran through my head, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that ridiculous suit.
That was here's another thing that ran through my head. Because they had a figure up on the screen, and later I saw that it was a Predator outline.
Yeah.
But at first I thought it was a human, and they said something about cybernetics. And I was like, is it going to be fucking RoboCop?
Oh my god.
That went through my head, too.
Holy shit. If RoboCop had walked out of that, it would have been the best movie ever made. Like, I would have been like, holy fuck. They should just stop making movies. And no, they should keep making them so I can see RoboCop versus Predator.
It kind of is RoboCop.
Yeah, it is.
Little.
Yeah.
But his line when the guy says, "What is that?" he goes, "That's my new suit, Bubba."
Yeah.
It comes in a 42 long.
That's awesome. He had so much badass
Bubba.
Yeah, it was so much badass dialogue from that dude.
Yeah, he was great, man. Like I said, he had that very dry. It's not.
It could have gone so wrong, like his.
But it could have come off as bland.
Yeah.
But I dug it, man. I dug it.
No, he was great. Like and yeah, like from the trailers, I was like, I don't know about this like leading dude, but he was amazing. Like I really hope that they make a follow up to this.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I would love to see it because I mean, obviously, we want to see that Predator killer in action.
Oh hell yeah! That'd be awesome.
Speaking of the characters, okay, so Olivia Munn, I think, did a great job.
Yeah,
but I'm curious. Did Nicole talk about her at all?
Yeah.
Liking her?
So pretty much, she was like, "Yeah, this is." She's like after she's like, "Yeah," like while we're watching it, I'm like, "This is ridiculous." Like her character arc.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but then the movie was just so good around it. She was like, "Well, I rolled with it," and she pulled it off. It was kind of how I felt. Like she became like a little too comfortable with a gun and a little too badass too quick.
Yeah.
For not being one of the soldiers. But I mean, it worked for the movie, for the tone of the movie.
I was just wondering because as I was watching the movie, she felt a little abrasive to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it as a movie female, not as an actual person, and I wondered. Like the parts of my brain that take in movies versus the parts of my brain that interact with human beings, is there a different view of females from that? Because she wasn't like a badass Mila Jovovich from Resident Evil.
She wasn't like that.
But she wasn't the funny movie heroine.
No.
I think she was just a more realistic female character.
Yeah.
That we don't see a whole lot because she wasn't exaggeratedly cool or sexy, but she also wasn't exaggeratedly badass. Yeah, towards the end she was running around with the guns and stuff, but she wasn't doing ninja flips and running up trees. No,
it wasn't. It wasn't like I'm not saying it was ridiculous. It just seemed like everything kind of happened quick.
Yeah.
It was like but I think that's also because we don't know her backstory.
Right.
Maybe she is a fucking badass.
I mean, they were able to take some liberty with some of the stuff she did, but I think that it was an interesting, different portrayal.
Yeah.
Than a lot of female leads that we see.
For sure.
And like I said, as I was watching the movie, I was kind of figuring out, like, oh, she's not abrasive, she's just real and different from what we normally see.
Absolutely, yeah.
In our leading females.
Yeah, especially when she was dealing with the loonies at first.
Yes,
and stuff.
oh my gosh,
but
that was so good.
Yeah.
And some of the, even just having her curse casually.
Yeah.
Is not something you see a lot.
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things with the whole, like, loonies thing. It was just with a lot of monster movies, they focus, it's about, like, here's the monsters, and then there's some people here, and they're getting killed. This one felt like I really grew to like all the characters. And yeah, their story arcs weren't, like, super well developed, and like, I didn't know a whole lot about them, but, like, they were very, very likable and fun, and, like, I would easily buy every action figure of each character.
Yes. They gave us enough about them so that we cared when they died.
Yeah, for sure.
It didn't feel like we put enough people in this movie to get murdered.
That reminds me. What did you think about Keegan and Thomas Jane's death scene?
Oh, I thought it was great.
I thought it was amazing.
I thought it was absolutely great. It was brutal and ugly. And
it was kind of sweet, though.
Yeah. Oh, no. As far as them actually taking each other out, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. But they're, Jane impaled on the fucking tree, and he with his guts hanging out.
Yeah.
Lots of intestines in this movie.
Whole lot of intestines. All practical. Mostly practical.
You're in Georgia, so you expect chitlins.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, there's one scene in the beginning, I think, when somebody got ripped open and you just see the entrails just coming down from the trees. I'm like, holy shit.
It's the very beginning when the predator, the fugitive,
taken out
is cloaked on the ground.
Yeah.
And the guy's gotten ripped in half by the gauntlet, right?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And his guts or his intestines
it looks so good.
Looped out.
That's why I was
bleeding on the predator, which is how you see the predator cloaked on the ground.
So
he's covered in blood.
Oh man, that'd be a good figure too.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? They will almost certainly do a cloaked version of that fugitive because I've got 2 cloaked.
I'm just going to pour some red paint on it and throw some intestines on it.
Good to go.
There.
Good to go.
Yeah, no, I thought that the practical effects were so awesome with the intestines and stuff that I was a little bummed when I saw some of the... There's a couple scenes of like CGI blood, which is like my least favorite thing in the world. I was like,
yeah,
why?
CGI gunshots
just
like rarely look good, and there were a lot. Although, I love the fact that if you're a soldier with a hat on in this movie, you're going to die. All of the soldiers with hats on fucking just got killed. They did not even... They were just cannon fodder. It was hilarious. Like, every time you saw one. And whether it was... I loved when they're escaping towards the end of the movie, when Quinn and cool suicide guy...
Nebraska.
When they're getting out of the barn, they're escaping the barn, and they've subdued their captors, and Quinn comes out, and Nebraska's taking this one guy out. He's like, what are you going to do about that guy? Just fucking jams his head through that board. He's like, cool. He's like, that was a dumb question, wasn't it? He's like, that was a dumb question.
Yeah, Nebraska's story was interesting, actually. Like, it was like subtle, but really interesting, because he's like, yeah, I tried to shoot this asshole.
I did.
Or, yeah,
I shot a CO.
Yeah, and he's like, did he die? And he's like, no. Yeah, and he's like, no, and then I just got locked up. And I did not put it together that he shot himself.
No. And
that was a great reveal.
And I thought there would be... It was so good because the way that he presented it, I shot a CO, and there was kind of a pause and some heaviness, and you felt like that's going to pay off later. It's either going to be somebody they're going to have to deal with later, like one of the army guys that's chasing
I thought about that. Yeah.
Something significant, or it's going to be Apone's grandfather or whatever. Yeah. And then the reveal, very shortly. I think it was when they were at the hotel, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They did the reveal. I was like, oh man,
I was in the bus, and then the hotel. They're sitting by the pool, and he pulled up that. Yeah,
and it gives a completely different take on it, because when he says I shot a CO, you're like, oh, this guy's fucking dangerous.
Yeah, and he's like, why'd you shoot him? He's like, because he was an asshole.
You're right.
Yeah,
and it's a completely different take when you realize he tried to kill himself. Like, it flips that character entirely.
Oh yeah,
because the difference between somebody who would shoot another person and somebody who tried to kill themselves,
totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or shoot another person in anger.
Yeah.
As was suggested.
Yeah. Basically going from a murderer to a person who just tried to take himself out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there were so many great moments like that. Because, man, they could have so easily had one of those characters, like, turn on everybody or have some alternate agenda. And
it was very straightforward.
I was worried that they would. But no, they're just a ragtag group of misfits that kicked ass.
Yeah, and its thing is, even when you take apart, because there were a couple of spots where it felt a little disjointed to me, and watching it again, this is where a lot of times, as I said before we started recording, I think a lot of times you need to watch movies 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
To really know how you feel about them.
Yeah, and sometimes it's for the worse. Like, sometimes you watch one again and be like, whoa, what the fuck?
What was I thinking of this piece of shit? But with this, once your expectations are no longer a factor, it's important to go back, because I think my mind, when I'm watching a movie, is sitting there trying to figure, whether I want it to or not, it's trying to figure out, where is this going? What's going to happen? What are these characters going to do? What is the end game? And it distracts from enjoying what's actually happening.
Yeah.
So now that I know everything that happens in the movie, I can go back and watch it again and actually appreciate what's happening rather than compare what's happening against what I'm expecting to happen.
Yeah.
Which, whether it's as good as what I'm expecting or not, it still detracts from the movie a bit when my brain's doing that, instead of just watching it and enjoying it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some movies, too, that, like, when they have, like, a big reveal at the end, you'll rewatch the movie, and it's almost like a totally different movie. Because then you know, and you're like, whoa, oh, this is totally different than what I was expecting.
And you can see all the little parts. And you know, there will be scenes that you thought were important that are not, and then other scenes will jump out that maybe you didn't even really notice the first time. You're like, that's why this happened. That's the significance of this thing. It
is necessary.
You need to, you know, unless you just, you know, a piece of shit when you see it.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you're on the fence about, or certainly if it's something that you enjoy, you got to go back.
Absolutely. Like, this is day one buy for me.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to buy this immediately.
100%.
And immediately go home and watch it. Like, I liked it that much. And, I mean, it helps that it was just, like, just having a good day. It was just a good night. Like, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, like, a great, fun date night. Like, if you and your girl like to see gory, fucked up, funny, hilarious movies with predators in them, then that's the movie to watch.
And we talked a little bit about the intestines and stuff, but it really is ultra violent and gory.
It's gory as fuck.
They're exploding heads, decapitations, arms ripped off, hands.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, when that guy is trying to catch the, at the end, he's like, that's Predator tech, that's going to come back.
That's going to come right back to you. And then he just shoots the guy, like after his hand gets cut off.
He's like, and I was totally expecting him to say, I don't have time for someone that dumb. Or something, but he didn't need to say that.
Yeah,
because by that point, we knew that character didn't have time for someone that dumb.
Yeah, he just shot him in the head and moved on.
Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta get this over with.
Yeah, I can't remember what he says. Something to. I mean, I can't remember. There's a line that he says to the boy when they're in the ship. And it was like some of the most dastardly, like, evil villain fucked up shit.
Oh, yeah. When he kneels down in front of him.
Yeah, and he's talking about his dad. And, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember being so angry at him at that point. I was like, don't talk to that kid that way.
Here's what it is. Okay. They know that the loonies are coming.
Yeah.
And the other guy, the beard guy, that I'm not sure what happened to him. He's Apone's granddad's, like, second in command.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his fate was, because there's a lot of death in the last 20 minutes
rapid.
of the movie.
It's just bam, 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 dead. Some of them they barely even focus on.
Yes. His second in command, beardy guy, comes in and says they've tripped the perimeter alarm.
Yeah.
And the kid says, that's my dad coming to save me. And he says, your dad's not going to save you. He's going to die. He's got to be the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. He's supposed to be a sniper, and he just tripped our perimeter alarm. And that's when he realizes it's a distraction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that's what he says. He says, your dad's going to die because he's the dumbest motherfucker on the planet.
Yeah. I was like, God, that's some cold shit.
But the delivery of it was just cold. And that's what it was, is he was charming guy most of the time, but every once in a while he'd flip a switch and just be a snake.
Yeah, just scary.
Yeah. But that's exactly what it was.
That was, yeah.
Which was great. It was great because, again, rather than sitting there and explaining everything, we got to see his realization.
Oh, fuck.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah. No, it made that scene a lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
And
okay, here's something I caught that, if I hadn't been paying close attention, might have been one of my, like, oh, this is a problems, is later on, which, by the way, so big guy's ship is leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Our 3 remaining loonies jump on top. Nebraska, main guy, and Jesus guy.
Yeah, Nettles.
Jump on top of the ship, and you're sitting there thinking, like, what the fuck do they think they're going to do?
Yeah.
Force field comes up. Main guy drops. Nebraska jumps. So they're separated by the force field, and then Nettles shunk
legs.
Which we've never seen that in a Predator movie like that. We've never seen the effect. And it's interesting because we see force fields all the time in science fiction.
Yeah.
But very rarely, and I think I've seen something to that effect before.
Yeah.
But very rarely do we see
what would happen if it goes off like while you're in between it.
And then as the ship is leaving the atmosphere, Nebraska's realized, like, I'm fucked. I'm stuck on the outside. I'm losing my oxygen, which that killed me. Because the idea of leaving the atmosphere, which is a weird fear to have.
Yeah.
But that freaks me out.
Yeah.
The idea of just losing your oxygen.
Absolutely.
It's horrifying. And he realizes, you know what? Fuck it. Jumps in the engine, which was so badass.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's smiling the whole time, too.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And then we see main guy slide. I loved this because I was thinking, well, there's no way to get in from the top. Could he just slide down the force field underneath? And then he did it.
Yeah.
It was such a cool visual.
Yeah, it was.
To see, because the force field wouldn't be right against the sky. I mean, even Star Trek has established there's space between the hull and the force field. And this movie uses that, and it's like a little thing, but it was just really cool to see. It was,
yeah. I don't think I've ever quite seen that.
No, not like that. Not in that way. And then he gets down to the door, and for a split second I thought, wait a minute, how the fuck does he know how to get into the ship? It's because he's a sniper, and he was sitting there watching his kid do it. It was very specifically shot that he's watching his kid enter the code in, and he says, he didn't get that from me.
Yeah.
So, now granted, the idea that all of the Predator ships have the same entry code, we'll let that slide.
Yeah.
But
no,
they did establish that he saw that and how that worked.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And then
I caught that, but I did not put that together. That makes a lot of sense. And it's good because stuff like that shows that they care.
Which makes me think there is some line of dialogue or something for the RV.
I feel like there has to be.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then he gets into the ship, and big guy uses that fucking badass scorpion harpoon thing.
Oh my god, that thing was awesome.
That was great. And see, we didn't get as much of a look at the big guy as I would have liked, because Olivia Munn has a line about he just grew an exoskeleton under his skin. But
that
we
seemed
really
odd
didn't
to me.
We saw him use his weapons, and at the end we did get a good look at his gauntlet.
Yeah.
When his arm gets cut off, and fucking main guy picks it up and shoots the spear or whatever. Like, that was...
Yeah.
That whole segment...
I enjoyed that.
Yes.
And everybody kind of pitched in and, like, had their part to play in taking him out.
And there wasn't a long, drawn-out... I really liked that... The idea that the big guy... They had to jump on him and take him out fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't a drawn-out thing. It was once he was injured, they kept going after him, blew him the fuck up, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then, I can't remember what he said before he shot him.
Shit, I can't remember.
Yeah, he's laying on the ground, his arms and legs, he's full Anakin.
Yeah. Oh, he was, Anakin. Yeah.
And he had the high ground. Oh my gosh,
Holy
I wonder if that was...
Like some sort of reference?
Do you think that was like an intentional, like, sort of thumb in the nose?
I don't know. I mean, it is pretty...
It was the same wounds.
Yeah, exact same wounds, yeah. And he had the high ground.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, but like I feel like you could set some Star Wars music to that and add some dialogue into it.
Right.
And it would be hilarious.
Huh. But yeah, he delivers some line and then just shoots him in the face like 6 times.
Yeah.
And big guy's done.
Yeah.
Are there any other little moments that jumped out at you? Anything else you can think of that warrants discussion? I think we've covered it pretty well.
I think we covered just about everything I liked about it. I mean, just all in all, I mean, I thought it was a really fun movie. I'm definitely going to pick it up as soon as it's out. and watch it multiple times.
Yeah.
And make anyone that hasn't watched it watch it, because I liked it that much.
Or anyone that was kind of meh on it.
Yeah.
You got to sit them down and be like, all right, let's get a group together. Let's sit down.
If you go in expecting a very serious, slow burn kind of like horror movie,
it's not an Oscar nominee.
No, not at all. Like, I mean, I wouldn't even fault a critic for being like, that was trash. Like, I mean, a lot of horror is like trash cinema, but it was fucking good.
But that doesn't make it bad.
Yeah, it doesn't make it bad. It was fucking good.
And that's the thing is, like, for me, good and awesome are different things.
Yeah.
For movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Predator, or the Predator, was awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was good.
Yeah.
It was good, but it wasn't it.
Yeah.
It
wasn't as good as the first one.
It wasn't it, or the Babadook, or the Conjuring, or it wasn't. Oh, that was a film. It was an experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was an experience, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't think that they're ever going to be able to capture the first one again.
But they got damn close.
Yeah, but exactly. Like that was great. Like I loved it. It's my second favorite Predator movie.
Yeah, it'll take more viewings for me to decide that, because I really love Predator 2.
I do too, yeah.
And it's taken me a few years to decide that I really love it, because the first time I saw it, I did not.
Oh yeah, I didn't like it when I first saw it, because I saw it on like HBO, and I just recently saw Predator, and I was a child that did not understand.
You're like, where's Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, I was just like, what
Why
the fuck?
are they in a city?
Yeah, like it just didn't make sense to me.
It's so badass. The cast is freaking amazing.
Oh yeah. No, it's a great movie. I like it a lot.
So it's going to be tough for anything to. I mean, obviously, like I said at the beginning, Predator is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
RoboCop, like, there are a few Jaws, absolutely.
That's, like, my go-to for, like, perfect movie.
If I sat down to write down a list, I could probably come up with 5 movies that I would say, these are perfect.
Yeah.
They require no alteration.
Absolutely. And Predator, it's ridiculous. Like, I think I saw, like, a Honest trailer or something, like, one of those things. And the guy's, like, doing his normal, like, making fun of it. But then at the end, he's just kind of like, wow, like this, he's doing his like normal thing. He's like, oh, haha, this guy did this, ha ha ha, that's funny. And then at the end, he's like, I really don't have much else to say because this really holds up. Like he's like, this is really good. And then at the end, he's just like, hell yeah, this movie is awesome. And then like because there's nothing to like really make fun of.
No, there's not.
Like Schwarzenegger puts out like one of the best performances he ever has had.
Yeah,
like he was fucking amazing. Like the whole cast is awesome. Like that movie is just lightning in a bottle, and it worked because. You're like, what the fuck is that thing? And then you see it and you're like, oh my god, it's worse than I thought. But you can't really do that anymore. So now you just have to have a fucking really fun-ass movie with a really, really giant predator.
Yes. Yeah, they're just going to keep getting bigger.
Yeah, that's cool.
And the next one, it was 11 feet tall in this one. Next one's going to be 20 feet tall.
That's fine.
And eventually we're going to build up to Predator versus Godzilla.
That would be awesome.
Holy shit, I would watch that.
I would watch the shit out of that.
We're done here.
Yeah, I think so.
So... Anybody that was like, oh, that doesn't really look like it's going to fit in with the Predator movies, or I didn't like the last one, or whatever, go check it out. You definitely, like, if you want to see it at all, need to see it in the theater.
For sure. For sure.
But it's badass. It was awesome. It was a fun time. And I'm looking forward to seeing it again.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Same here.
Ryan, thanks for coming over.
Hell yeah, man.
What are you up
to? Cast Creature's playing a shitload in October.
Right.
And then I think, that's really all I got. We're about to start doing some cool like YouTube videos, me and some like local like horror people and Nicole, where we're just gonna like do like our own little YouTube channel. It's gonna be called Scumbag TV. And like really anyone who wants to do a video for it, if you like were like, I want to do a video about something, like just give it to us. We're just going to put it on Scumbag TV. It's going to be like our own little weird public access channel kind of thing where we just talk about whatever we want. It's not just going to be reviews, it's going to be everything.
Do you have to be a scumbag?
I mean, most of my friends are, so it kind of works out.
I'm not a scumbag.
Well, I mean, you could hang out with the scumbags.
That's true.
You do it pretty
I guess
often.
by relation. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that's solid. All right, thanks a lot, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You can check out Scumbag TV on YouTube now. Our pal Devlin Valek, who was a contributor to needlessthingspodcast.com for many years, has a video up as we speak. I haven't yet watched it because sometimes Devlin's stuff is a little disturbing for my tender sensibilities, but you should go check it out. You guys will definitely enjoy it if you're weirdos listening to this show. All right, so mysterymenofsurf.com, or excuse me, themysterymenofsurf.com. Go check out their new album, Firewalkers. Go check out The Nun, and obviously go check out The Predator. And here's some interesting news that came in as I was producing this episode. Sony is releasing the unrated cut of the Evil Dead remake. This is interesting for a number of reasons. One of them being that I can't imagine what they cut out of that. Like, how much more gruesome can it get? That movie's horrifying. I love it. As you know, we did a commentary on it not too long ago. I'm very eager to see what was cut out of this movie. The other interesting thing is it's not just a re-release like a lot of movie companies do around this time of year. It's actually an upgrade, which means they're thinking about the franchise, which means that Fede Alvarez's teases about a sequel might have some substance. And I certainly hope that's the case, because I would love to see the further adventures of Mia and what direction her very different story takes from Ashes back in the day. And I don't expect or need to see Bruce Campbell in it at all. I want something fresh and new and different. Bruce Campbell will always be there on my video shelf. I love you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Needless Things podcast. You're the best. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Downcast, or in the ears of a Trader Vic's employee. Love you. Mean it. Uh-huh.